You can support this show at patreon.com/ASAPodcasting. Hello, welcome back, Skyrim Podcast. I am Michael. I'm joined by. Wonder which phrase should that be by? Victor.
Good evening. I'm with you.
Thank you, and Ray. Yeah, because you're not in proximity, so you would have to. Yeah, and Ray's with us.
Hello, I am also with you.
You know when you say a word or something that you've said forever, and all of a sudden it doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah, it just didn't sound quite right.
Yeah, like, huh?
And also with you, I feel like I'm in church.
Yeah. So the plan for this one is I do have a little Skyrim to start with, but I'm going to break the show into chapters for everybody since we'll probably have a bunch of Starfield going forward. And then there'll be separate chapter if there's any like Starfield like heavy spoiler or like late game kind of content or anything like that. But I don't think we're getting there. So that just in case anybody's worried about that who's listening. So if you go into your show notes or most of the players will work with chapters and you just skip forward. It'll skip to the next chapter. If not, I'll have the timestamp in the show notes. You just click on that and it'll take you right to that time. So just a heads up for anybody listening. There will be chapters going forward. It'll just be a little easier for everybody to navigate if they want to. So I'm assuming everybody else here played Starfield.
Yes, indeed.
I have, yes.
Okay, let me go over my little bit of Skyrim I got going because I've just been doing my Legacy of the Dragonborn character.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because last time I played it, what was it? 2 years ago we did it. My game bonked around Night at the Museum. So I never even got to finish that. So this time I have actually finished Night at the Museum.
Which is so much fun.
It is. Well, here's the problem. I returned to the museum and I'm going to go sort. Somehow I walk past everybody laying dead and don't notice them. And get to
it's a fairly common occurrence.
Yeah. They're all over the place. I walk in and I go to the sorting table and I'm like, it's broken. But it looks like it may have been like not in-game broken, but like the mod broke something. Because like there's the glass case is just laying on the floor. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, I can't click on it. I go out, I come back in, it's not working. I go reload the save back. I forget what I had been doing. I was finishing up some quest, so it wasn't a big deal. I went back to the cave or whatever I had come out of. I went all the way back there again. And I'm like, it's still broken. And eventually I look around, I'm like, wait, this doesn't make sense. So then I go out front, I walk past everybody again. And I walk out front and what's his name? The guard is there and there's a dead guard right in front of him. And I'm like, oh. So then I talk to him and I'm like, oh. There we go. I'm like, this makes more sense now.
Yeah. It's such a relief that that your mod wasn't broken.
Yeah, I was like, no, it can't be breaking at this point again. I was like, oh, the Night at the Museum was great. I really enjoyed that. I don't think I was able to get all the way through it last time, or maybe I did get all the way through that, but I definitely didn't get through the second one. I forget the exact name of it. What is it? Where you find out more about the history of the guard from the museum and all the items go.
Yeah,
missing.
his little quest.
Yeah. What is it called? Night at the Museum. Shadow of One's Past. That's it. So Night at the Museum was great. You get that it's kind of like the whole haunted house kind of thing going on, which is pretty cool. And then Shadow of One Past takes you all over the place to different places. As far as everything working on Xbox Series X, there's only a couple things I can't really do. The enchanting table in the crafting area what is it? The disenchant and the other thing, where you can take the soul out of the gem or whatever. Those don't work because they require SKSE. So those don't work. My quest for, what's her name? Latoria? Is that it? In the Explorers Guild? The one who does the books. She will no longer, it no longer pops up where I can give her 5 ruined books to create a book.
Oh.
So that something's just wrong there. But the guy with the ore, the guy that you can give the ore to and get precious gems or whatever, that all works fine. So it's running smooth otherwise. But yeah, that, other than me not noticing all the dead guards, and that the only other screw up I had was I disenchanted the battle axe of fiery soul traps before making a copy of it.
Yeah.
So now I don't have it.
Yeah.
And you can't make a copy of it without having it. So there's one item that I don't have in that main area, or I won't have in that main area. Because I was like, I'm not going back to that save. It wasn't that long ago, but I had done something significant after that, and I'm like, I'm not going through that whole thing again just to get the battle axe of fiery souls. So that just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm kind of there, and just going through. I think I'm getting close to 500 displays, so I'll be getting to the next quest pretty soon. And going through all that. But no, it's been fun. I really enjoy it. I'll probably be playing with that for a little longer, probably up until Assassin's Creed Mirage comes out on the 5th.
Yeah.
So I pre-ordered that. So that's kind of my Skyrim play. What I've been doing in that. I'll probably be doing. I'll do more in it. I'm gonna set up my old Xbox up here. I might do the one of the audio Let's Plays of the Daedra stuff on that. I can just run the audio through.
I've done a little Skyrim. I've progressed my shout character.
Oh,
Civil War. Nothing really.
Yeah.
In depth. As Mirage, I'm definitely looking forward to Mirage, and I'm also. I don't know if you guys have dipped your toes into Baldur's Gate 3 much, but I'm kind of scratching around the edges of that. It's so big and so complex. Caitlin is totally, my daughter Kate is totally dived into that completely. So she totally loves it. Sean's back in World of Warcraft. So yeah, I do want to get into Baldur's Gate 3. I think that I'm going to start a character, probably a simple, barbarian or something, in the story mode, which amounts to the story mode, which is kind of just enjoy the story. Don't get too in depth into combat and stuff. Just so I can sort of get a feel for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more like D&D heavy, right? Baldur's Gate.
It is
like,
D&D.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
it's all dice rolls and all. It's just so it helps to have a little knowledge of D&D, but you don't have to. I mean, just things like rolling with advantage and stuff like that. If you don't know things about D&D to begin with, then you sort of have to learn that as you go. But other than that, it's a lot like Divinity. If you played Divinity, it's a similar, interface. So, but I've never been a huge fan of turn-based games. So,
yeah. There was an old Xbox game that was turn-based, like literally turn-based. Gladius, I think it was called.
I never played it, but I remember the name.
Yeah, I remember. I enjoyed it very much, but it was strictly just turn-based, roll the dice kind of game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is several generations in now, so it's pretty big and complex, and I mean, I've watched a few just early, early episodes of walkthroughs and stuff, and just simple things amaze me. Watching that you can go into the character creator, create a character, which is ostensibly a custom creation, and then that character, they populate that character into all the cutscenes.
Oh wow,
in the intro. It's quite impressive.
that's pretty impressive. Yeah, yeah.
And so there's just a huge engine behind that game. Just it's beautifully made. So I own it, so I might as well play
it. Any Skyrim, Ray, or just in space? Are you just in space now?
No, I did manage to get some Fallout in to finish up the roundtable.
Oh, there you
and
go.
I finished the latest expedition in No Man's Sky for that show, but I have not played any Skyrim at all.
Yeah.
No, speaking of Elder Scrolls, though, so I don't know, was it fully like they're working on or they farmed out the Oblivion remake? Is that what happened? Is that what came out of the those email leaks or whatever? Yeah, or whatever it was, the court case or whatever it was. I mean, or they were at least considering working on it. I would love if it did, but I'm not holding my breath for anything.
Well, they've certainly mentioned that that those are possibilities, but it's I think this one was some unredacted emails that were submitted as part of the lawsuit that Microsoft is currently going through.
Yes, yeah.
And so the right person was reading through those emails and spotted the conversation about those being on the in process.
Yeah, it was that.
Was there any
Fallout 3? Was it the two of them? Was it?
Yeah, it was Fallout 3 and Oblivion.
Yeah.
There was no mention of whether they were working with or had considered working with the people who are actually remastering them, like Sky Oblivion and all that.
Yeah, they actually said that they would continue regardless if something was released or not. But I mean, it's a labor of love for them. So
pretty much
I get that. Yeah. Otherwise, game wise, just remember to make replicas of things before you give it away.
Before you disenchant them and make them into some other miraculous weapon.
Yeah, if you're on PC, it would be a player.add item.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been so much easier. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, sorry, a siren was going by, completely threw me off. I do love going down, like, what having the museum gives me is a reason to do all the smithing, the entire tree. Because that, I go down there, I'm like, oh, I need to make this, this, and this, so let me go get this stuff, go get this material or whatever, if I haven't randomly found something or something like that. So to complete all those armor sets and weapon sets and all that stuff, it's like a really great reason to actually go through the full smithing tree on both sides to be able to make everything.
Right. Well, and there's also a separate display when you get to a 100.
Oh, is there?
In a skill.
Oh, nice.
So for every skill that you get to 100, you get a display for that skill.
Nice.
And if I remember right, I had done one and then I went legendary and it went away.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense.
Is the display adapted in any way to the vanilla perk tree, or is it just a display of items? Like, because I never got that far in Legacy of the Dragon. In other words, if you're using an alternate perk mod like whatever Ordinator or whatever, do you need a patch for that to get to the? I think there is an Ordinator patch.
Yeah, there is a patch for it.
Yeah.
But essentially, it doesn't. It's not what perks you take. It's if you get that skill to 100.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's just a gold star kind of. You got it to 100.
Yeah, you got 100 in this skill, and so you get a little display.
Okay. Just I get it.
But conversely, what Michael's doing is he's going through and filling out all of because there's a display for each of the different styles of armor.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you get, the different armors, light and heavy armors,
Yeah.
all the weapons, the weapon types. You get one, you have to have at least one weapon of each of the different types and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it gets quite extensive, but it's so exciting when you start seeing those things fill out.
Yeah.
And it kind of marches along because, as you're playing the game, you'll get the leather, the iron filled out, and then, your steel is starting to get heavy, displays. And then, you happen into a cave with Falmer, and now all of a sudden you've got, a bunch of Falmer armor and weapons, on display. It's fun to watch things kind of pop up. They also kind of come out of nowhere. So after you've gone through a Falmer cave, then you get there's a display in the main hallway.
Yes. Yeah.
That comes up when you fight your first Hag Raven. You'll get a Hag Raven display that comes up.
I remember that, yeah.
As well as then also being able to go in and build stuff in the Natural History Museum section.
Yes. Yeah, I like the natural history area. I've done almost all of those. I think I just have a cow left of what I have available. Anyway, I have a cow left.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and to really make Night of the Museum fun, make sure that you've got that place packed before you hit that quest.
No, you know what they do? I think it auto fills a lot of stuff.
Oh, did it?
And you can't pick it up anyway. Like, how, because it's all kind of weirdly scattered or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it auto kind of fills in things.
Okay,
and
so that you have the big battle.
Yeah, and then you can't touch them anyway. But yeah. So even if you haven't done it, it auto completes stuff temporarily. Yeah. I was also afraid to loot the things after I killed them in there. I was like, oh, if I loot them, are they going to be gone when I come back? It's like I just spent all this time building my saber cat. And I'm now looting it. Is it going to be gone? So I was concerned about that after I went in there. I was like,
in Xbox, do you get the blimp?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's actually
is that the
right
something a Visa mod that it was a separate mod at one time. You're talking about the airship?
Yeah, I think it's incorporated now.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's incorporated, yes, but it was once a separate mod. Terror's something a Visa or one. There's one of those that was a player home airship. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it sitting in a Windhelm right now.
Nice.
It's docked. It's been docked there for a while. I flew over there, but I do like using that way because you have the docks that you can fly up to and just unload. It's pretty neat. I will say the craft loot system is great because as you're going along and collecting stuff, if you just happen upon whatever, if I'm collecting a ton of alchemy ingredients and I go to an alchemy station anywhere, it just basically offloads the stuff for me. Much less carry weight involved or smithing materials.
I just never trust that stuff. Don't trust it.
Well, for that stuff, I'm not too concerned because I'm like, if I lose some ore or some ingots or whatever, that's not that.
Have to go back to Whiterun and loot the entire place.
Yeah, that's basically, yeah. Just that. That's all. But yeah. No, that's that's all I've been kind of doing it. Playing around with that, and it definitely the museum thing just adds a lot to what you want to like to accomplishing things. Kind of makes you focus on specific things a little more that you might not necessarily do.
And it gives you lots of reasons to go do things.
Yeah, because like my character was just basically to survive and find a place to live and a job and stuff like that, and it's kind of weirdly given the character purpose to do things that probably wouldn't have found.
Immerse in the world and go find, the different pieces to display in the museum.
Yep. I actually sided with the Forsworn and helped them out
Nice.
after we all escaped Sid the Mine together. So that's the first time I've sided with. Actually, it's the first time I've done the Forsworn thing in a long time. I usually just ignore the letter. So
right. Yeah. Oh, you dropped this. Yeah. Whatever. Dude.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll get back to you someday. All right. All right. Well, we will. For those who want to get Starfield, that'll be up next, and it'll be a chapter. So, if you're listening to Skyrim stuff, thanks for listening. If you're not into Starfield, that's cool. So Starfield. I guess I could go over my adventure real quick because I'll be the shortest by far.
Yeah.
So I like a day or two after we had recorded, I hopped back in, and I think I got to New Atlantis. Was that Constellation? I talked to a bunch of people there. Took to a train or whatever, transport, monorail, whatever it was, to another part of the city, talked to someone. Had to hop like 2-3 places to talk to people. Then I got to another planet, and what I had to do was going to do something, and I wandered into, like, I don't know, it looked like an abandoned refinery or, whatever. Like essentially where you see the pirates in the beginning. The same kind of place, whatever that would be called, some kind of outpost. And it was just this massive gun battle, and I'm like, I'm kind of over it. And that was it for me. Like, I didn't, like, none of the Constellation stuff really grabbed me, or none of the crafting. I think it's just because I just don't have the time to put into it. And I know that I have Mirage coming up that I'm going to put a ton of time into. And I'm like, I only have like 3 weeks before I'm going to be lost because I know I'm going to, like, that's something I'll get deep into. And it's like simple. You're not really a lot to figure out there, to be perfectly honest. It's more of a game you just play. You don't really have to figure out.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller than the last couple of Assassin's Creed. So it's really a really good bite-sized chunk.
Yeah, you're just playing through a story. There's some semi-open world aspects to it, but, not like to anything to the same degree. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this enough to put the time in, and with the limited gaming time I have. So that's where I kind of fell off. I may go back to it at some point, but where I was at, I was like, I just don't like the combat style, not the mechanics of it or anything, just the aesthetics of it. Like, I prefer X versus Y, and that's just what it came down to for me. It wasn't like, oh, this game's terrible or anything. It's just like, no, it's just not my thing, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and it's got a lot of new mechanics to it.
Yeah.
And so it isn't really prone to being played in short chunks.
I think that's the hardest part for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's true. I think maybe once you sort of get a feel for the game, if you just sort of strictly follow quest lines without any attempts at building ships or making, or surveying planets or building home bases or anything else, I think the combat is excellent, frankly. It's really, I think they had some help, supposedly, but they own id, so why wouldn't they?
Right.
They had some help from id. So especially the low-G combat is very reminiscent of Doom. It's not nearly as fluid and amazing as Doom was, but it's close, and that's fine. So I've really enjoyed the combat a lot. The gun battles are really good. There's actually a cover system now, something that Bethesda hasn't really done before. So you can peek out from, there isn't a left-right key for peeking out, but when you go to sight down your weapon, you'll lean out, things like that. So I think the combat's really good. The stealth it's okay, especially if you take the one perk to get we can talk about perks, but that's
well, and stealth is so different from Fallout and Skyrim,
Yeah.
that it's kind of thrown people for a little bit of a loop, to understand exactly, how to make it work for you.
Well, you have to realize, which I didn't at first, that you have to take a perk to actually get the stealth meter.
So to get the meter to begin with. Yep.
Right. Which is a little odd, but whatever.
And, the other thing is that your spacesuit and weapon weight are also impactful.
Yeah.
They figure into your stealth ability or how much that makes total sense though.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't really explain it to you.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't explain anything. That's part of my gripe. It really doesn't explain anything. It's really shitty about that, which is, to my experience anyway, somewhat unusual for Bethesda. Those other games have been very good at explaining in small ways, letting you figure it out, but giving you hints along the way that make it. This game is it's just like, fuck you. You just figure it out yourself.
Did we mention it's an open world?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah. But yeah, so I do find that a little off-putting. Thankfully, we now have the internets.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that might have been part of my frustration. It's not like, even when I went to go craft things at all the craft stations at the was it Constellation headquarters or whatever, I was like, I went to each different one and I'm like, I can't do anything. Like I don't have stuff. I can't do anything. I'm like, I just wasted all my time coming down here. I talked to everybody for 10 minutes and they won't stop talking until they're done, and they're very long-winded.
Yeah. And everybody talks so slow.
Yeah. But for me, because of I play in small chunks, it creates a kind of a barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah, that's a real disconnect.
Yeah.
I had that problem in the first 5 days of the early access. I had exactly the same problem because the weather was so spectacular that week. And I was outside and I'd come in and play 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever. And yes, exactly the same experience, where it was just like, I can't figure it out. I walked away a couple times.
It needed to come out this week where it's rained all week and we haven't.
Yeah. I've actually got some playtime now.
Yeah. This would have been a great time for it to come out.
Yeah. I'm starting to really enjoy the game. Once you get used to, and you can pick and choose. I think once you played it, I think I've played about 80 plus hours now, and in my usual way, I've just a lot of that is just derping around, and some of it was me in front of the, but it's, once you realize some of the choices that you can make, then you can choose to go down certain paths, and I don't mean quest paths. I just mean certain play styles.
Yeah.
And I've kind of enjoyed that. And there's enough, and I've barely scratched the surface of many quests. I haven't gone down the Maroon. I haven't done Freestar. And I don't intend to with this character. I've sort of decided I'm just going to take what is it, CU or whatever it is, quest line, and run that through as her, main objective. I sort of started, I dabbled with the Ryujin quest line, which was fun, but I think my character realized that just not her. That's not her personality. She's not, so she went back and took the oath and joined the Vanguard. So that's been fun making those choices.
Mm-hmm. But, there's certainly no shortage of choice in the game.
Yeah, tons, and that's a lot of fun to sort of, for me anyway. It's been and it's been a slow burn for sure. It's not a game that it didn't just sort of drag me in by the grab me by the back of the neck and it took some time to really sort of warm up to it. And I've the last couple of days I've spent some time in the shipbuilding. I threw a couple of pictures in the on the live chat there.
Oh yeah, I see them. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the first one is actually based on a video I watched that I think that you guys we've talked about on the Starfield thread a couple of times. Is Swole Benji. It's a really good hour-long, very comprehensive discussion of early builds and play styles. He's a really smart and articulate person, and he's clearly thought these things out deeply. Or he's just really good at picking things up fast. Probably both. So that ship, there's a lot of points he makes about, top speed. There's of the ship and I forget the various numbers and stuff, but there's 100 and 150, and that's the max you can get, and you have it on this ship. There's 4. Is it? They're not laser cannons; they're particle cannons.
Particle.
Damn, they're powerful, and 4 of those plus a couple of things and some good technique with flying around. You can, and he did it in the video. You can just waste just about anything. So it's a lot of fun to play with, and it's a very, very maneuverable little ship. So I've had fun with that, and I finally figured out, because my first forays into shipbuilding were basically a complete disaster. That was like a rage quit. Because it's like nothing makes any sense. The UI is pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
And it doesn't explain to you anything it's talking about. So you either have to spend some time patiently figuring it out, go to the internet, or rage quit and go play Skyrim. And that's what I did. Fuck this, I'm done. And, I didn't play for a couple of days. But that was mostly my own fault for not exploring all the different keys. I hadn't figured out that when you press C or whatever it is on Xbox and you get, the check screen, it tells you exactly what the errors are and what they're for, and it doesn't really tell you how to fix them, but at least you have a chance to figure out what to do. Whereas I was just sort of, so, okay, I'm done. And then go to hit tab or whatever. And it would say, oh, sorry, can't build that. It's, I'm thinking, why? I don't know what I did wrong. So it was my own fault, but for getting frustrated. So, yeah.
And there it's certainly a lot of connection related ambiguity.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing a lot of, I would save before I built. I would put a bunch of stuff together. I would, save it, go ahead and exit out, and then go walk through the ship and see, because I had built a couple of them where I know I built this habitation unit, but there isn't any way to get to it.
Oh,
I can see that it's on the ship, but because I put the doors in the wrong spot, it was blocked off and I couldn't get to it.
Interesting.
And
I got a warning about that on one of my.
Yeah. So, but then you can just go, reload the save, and you're back to how your good working ship, and then you can go. Because the other thing is, how all the different pieces look inside. Each of the different companies have the same, they have an all-in-one, or they have an infirmary, or, armory, this and that. And, but they look very different. And so you can't preview that style. You can't even go into a showroom. You've got these star yards with these vendors that are there exclusively with their equipment. Why don't you have a showroom so I can walk through your habitation units and see which ones I like so I can order the right one?
But the interface is your showroom, Ray. That's the yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And it actually, and there isn't really. Does the game even tell you that if you go to different starship yards that you'll get different options?
Nope.
I'm not sure it does. No. And also that as you progress and level up and get more perks, you also get different options and better options. And so on.
Yeah. And it does okay telling you when when perks are required, because it'll give you the little, symbol over there saying this needs,
True. Yeah. That's in
level
red
4
or,
of that. But
yeah,
what it doesn't tell you is that, you're level 29 right now. And, in one more level, a bunch of really cool stuff is going to become
That's right.
available.
Yeah.
And so you can spend all your money now at level 29 and then level up to 30 and not have the money to be able to pay for, what you really would like to have on your ship, when you get to that level.
I will say they've made it very easy to make credits, though. So that's that part of it. I think that they've done a really good job there. Credits are very, they're just ubiquitous. Especially if you just loot a lot. If you played a lot of these games and you just sort of loot, you'll pick up credit chips and just, and 75 here and 400 there and whatever on all the dead bodies around littered around it, that adds up after times of thousands and thousands of credits. So there's that.
Yeah. And as you level up and can handle higher level ships, being able, if when you're first starting out, so level 8 is really where you hit the first, good particle beam weapon, that then makes you, a lot stronger against, other ships. But, when you steal those ships, after you register them, you're only going to make a couple of grand. You can make more by doing a delivery mission from the mission board.
Yeah.
Than you can from flipping the ship.
So explain what the advantages of registering the ship.
So the registering the ship allows you to either one, make customizations to it, or two, sell it.
Oh, okay.
So you can fly an unregistered ship all day long. You just can't change any of the, anything on the ship, including the color. And if you want to sell it, you have to register it. So
I'd be interested in what other people, because like we said, you guys have discussed it on both your other podcasts there. How do you feel about the overall balance of the game, the perk balance and the progression? I have my own thoughts about it, but again, I'm only level 22 on a single character. I have one character I started on my Steam Deck, but it doesn't count. An hour in or so.
Yeah.
So that's as far as I am. So my opinions may or may not be valid. I'm just curious how you feel about the balance and the progression.
I think overall it's pretty well balanced. It definitely lends itself to being very specific about the path that you want to go down.
Yeah.
Because the way that the perk tree lays out, you need 4 perks in the first level before you can choose any of the skills in the second level.
Yeah.
And you need 4 more in the second level before you can do anything with the third level, and so on and so forth. So in order to unlock these, these really high end perks at the bottom of the tree, you're forced to make big investments in it. Not just, with Skyrim, you can level up the skill by grinding the skill and get it up and be able to take higher level perks. And in Fallout, you just have to get your special skill to a certain level so that these other skills are available. So this one, it seems to be a little more expensive to to get the higher level skills, which
just,
means that you need to be focused on that with your character. If you get too spread out across the board, you're not going to be able to get better skills, in the lower levels for a really long time.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's part of my issue is it's so siloed and so gated that it makes it almost imperative that you play the game multiple times over many, 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 many hours. And that just seems a little out of balance to me. And, so you can do low level things. You can make you can make an early, like that little ship that in the picture there. That's level 12. That's a level 12 ship, and it's very, very powerful. Mm-hmm. So, but I only learned that because I watched a video, of somebody who's probably played 500 hours of the game. Mm-hmm. So, and the same thing goes for settlements and things. There's, you can get to a certain point, but after that, like you say, you got to expend at least 12 or 13, and perk points aren't that easy to come by in the game. They're not. It's not like you're leveling up super fast.
Well, and there's certain ways, and the thing is that, especially if you get yourself spread thin, then you're really you lose focus on all of the challenges for each level.
Yeah.
And how to get there.
That's kind of new, isn't it? I mean, that whole business where each perk you have to, and it's kind of cool. I sort of like that, but you're right. You have to sort of really pay attention to you got to remember each one that you have in progress right now and sort of focus on those, or just hope they happen randomly, which is what I do. That's, and the research thing is interesting, but again, the user interface there is really difficult to figure out. I have no idea. I just sort of poke at buttons and
until something happens.
Yeah, something happens and great. Okay. And if I don't have something, then I do the Fallout thing, which actually is very nice. I like that, where you can select, put the magnifying glass on a bunch of things and then go out and find all that stuff. That's great. I like that.
Yeah.
But then I go out and find all that shit. Then I come back to research and still poke buttons randomly until something happens. Yeah.
Do you feel like that was kind of a reaction, like doing it this way was kind of a reaction to the criticism of being able to do everything in something like Skyrim, where one of the big criticisms from previous Elder Scrolls players was, you can be the head of everything, or not from from other gamers, was you can do everything. You can be the head of every guild. You can max out everything. You can easily learn everything and do everything. There wasn't enough work put in to have to do things. Do you feel it was like maybe a reaction to that kind of the openness of how that game is? Because even Fallout 4 was a little more, there was a lot more perks involved for sure. And you could, build a little more specific character than Skyrim.
Yeah, the Fallout and the Starfield perk trees are built. They're very different, but they are built vertically, right? So, whereas Skyrim was, and I think that was a valid criticism of Skyrim. Although people who've played it a lot, like us, are able to sort of concentrate on one thing and build a character.
Put our own restrictions on it.
Right. And maybe it is a reaction to that. I don't know. If it is, I think maybe they went a little far.
Maybe there's I
don't know,
a balance there that's missing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you've played a lot of hours, Ray. I mean, how do you feel about the actual perk system itself? I mean, it does have interesting aspects to it. But,
and so it really falls into the sweet spot for me, because I'm running 8 characters.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I have one for each of the different weapon types.
Oh, there you go.
I've got one for crafting, one for shipbuilding, one for piracy, And so, it get those, those silos work for me.
Yeah.
And I do have the time to be able to, play a few hours with this one and then play a few hours with that one. And then, keep, rotating through and doing different pieces of them.
Yeah.
It's still, it really kind of, it has a lot more context to it, with the things that you've done, but still not quite enough for me. If you are in a faction where you've had to wipe out, another group, but you can still enjoy the benefits of, working with that group too. That kind of blows it for me. I like there to be consequences. So, and you can still, you can still be a member of the Thieves Guild and the head of the Mages College, and the companions, and Dawn Guard, and everybody else, at the same time.
So it basically has that same issue where,
there's nobody gets really bent out of shape, when you go against them, or if you are not showing allegiance to them.
I wondered about that because I haven't played into any faction far enough. So there are actually no. So if you go down the what is it, the Crimson whatever, the pirate faction,
Crimson Fleet,
you can also join the CU or whatever, and
the Vanguard.
Nobody bitches at you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure whether that's good or bad. I think again it does.
And in the long run, I just like I do with Fallout and with Skyrim, I gatekeep it myself.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
I guess if it did, I think maybe Bethesda is a very skilled studio and lots of very, very skilled developers, etc. So that must be a conscious choice, and probably because if they went down the road of being exclusive like that, it would limit the open play, right?
That's true.
For sure.
By a big way. It would be interesting if they could perhaps offer that choice. To make that one of the difficulty levels or something.
And they flirted with that with Fallout 4. Because you do, if you're doing institute quests, you get to a point where they say, okay, from this point forward, you were going to be the enemy of the Brotherhood of Steel.
Yes. Yeah. There is that. I was going to mention that. Yeah. They definitely had a mechanic there where you could go up to a certain point, even with like the railroad, right? Wasn't there something with the railroad when you got to a certain point?
Yeah, there's a big choice there too. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a very complex and careful one. You have to be very careful of how you go through that railroad quest line, or you won't be able to follow it all the way.
That I remember.
Yeah. No, that's true.
The thing I've been doing the most of has been working on ships, but two has been trying to hone my piracy skills, and being able to disable ships, board them, and then take them over and sell them for profit. And so right now my pirate character is, I think, level 31, and right now I'm, there's a system called Serpentis. And if you go to that system, almost every single planet, I think I've been around the circuit probably 3 times, and only 2 times has the Varun zealots not spawned in. And so it's a great place to practice your flying skills. It's a good place to level up, because it's they're high level ships.
Yeah.
I think one of the ships that I took today was level 50.
Wow.
But I've gone from that making 1,500 to 2,000 caps to making 15,000 to 20,000 caps. I guess credits.
Yeah.
And so as you level and can start taking on these bigger ships, but I gotta tell you, some of these Varun ships are huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. And it takes
scale is really
forever
impressive
to go through this thing and find all these zealots hiding in all the corners.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And a lot of them I've knocked out their their gravitation, and so you're floating through. And
do you need a boost pack when you do that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I have one. I mean, who doesn't?
Me.
I mean, that's hard to fathom. That's
another
one
thing you have to take a perk for, though, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that is the one perk that I have. I think I have one character that doesn't have boost pack.
Yeah.
And all the rest of them do.
So let me ask you a question. This has only some. It has to do with shipbuilding, but so I decided that I was going to have, because, and there's a whole different discussion about the inventory and limits on inventory and weight and all that stuff, which in this game is very different from previous Bethesda games. So I decided that I was going to build myself a cargo ship. And so I did that. And then I built my little compact warship. So my cargo ship is, I basically took the Frontier and made that into my cargo ship. And it's, I don't know, right now it's at somewhere around 3,000 kilos or whatever. And I don't remember if there's a limit or not, but it's got a lot of space in it.
Yeah, there is, but it's really, really high.
Right. So, but what I found is that the inventory system, it does an okay job, but it's a little weird. So when you go into the shipbuilder to change ships, you flick over to the one you want, and you click home ship, and your crew moves over seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
But the ship will end up with more, not all the cargo from the big cargo ship, but some of it. But it's still more than the ship is supposed to be able to take. So you have to be very careful if you want to have any, and believe me, I've learned this the hard way, any ship repair things, you better make sure they're in there, because you're not going to be able to add them later.
Right.
And then if you get in a battle and all of a sudden you can't repair your ship and you're dead, so then, back to square one. So is there a way to make that more, or is that just the way it is?
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
So the big thing is that it takes all of the junk items, all the knickknacks and everything, all the notepads and pens and coffee cups and succulents and everything else that's in the ship, and it puts it into the inventory.
Yeah, I noticed that. So then you have to suck them all out and sell them.
Yeah, so then you go sell them. The thing that I have a character that that I had spec'd into commerce. And so, the level up challenges for commerce is to sell unique items.
Wow.
And it gets pretty high. So level 3, I think, is 100. Level 4 is 150. I wasn't paying attention, and I unloaded all of the junk out of my ship after I had done some work on it, and I leveled it up. I'm like, oh. So then I looked, and saw that I had like 118 items in that inventory. So, of course, the next thing I did was I went in and changed one part in my ship, and it redid the whole thing, and that's full up again. So then I ran back over to the machine and flipped all that stuff and leveled it up again.
Oh man!
Okay.
So it was like, oh, okay,
so
it
repopulates all the miscellaneous junk items every time you work on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I wondered where those were all coming from. So that's. I figured it was something like that, but I wasn't sure. Okay. Well, that makes sense. It's a little inconvenient.
So the system works pretty well.
Yeah.
If for ship flipping, because I was watching an Angry Turtle video. He was a big Fallout 76 YouTuber.
Yes, I've seen stuff.
And so he was talking about how, he's got his pirate ship, and it had a pretty decent cargo. I think it had like 500 kg, and it had like 18 or 1900 kg in it. So there's no room in it whatsoever. He pirates this ship, and then gathers all the weapons off the bodies and puts that into the inventory of that ship. Then makes that ship his home ship and registers it, and then undocks from his pirate ship, and then immediately redocks with it. He says it takes a little bit of practice, and it does, because I've tried it 3 times, and I was successful once. But you redock with your ship, and then go, board that ship, go over and make it your home ship, and all of the inventory from that other ship. So one of the Varun ships I had, it had an armory in it, so there were all kinds of weapons and everything, plus the stuff that I had transferred from the bodies. And when I made mine the home ship, again, all of that inventory transferred over. And so, even though I can't technically add inventory to my ship, that process automatically adds it and overloads it. So it doesn't matter, how many of these ships that you turn, that inventory just accumulates in there, and then you can go and sell it.
So something I'm not quite following, because I haven't experienced this yet, is you can dock with your own ships. Is that only because they're registered? Where would I find my other ship? I thought it was just in the shipbuilding menu where you can switch between ships.
So when you undock from your ship, so when you pirate a ship, so you disable it, and then you dock with it, and so you're connected docker to docker.
Okay, that's totally different. I haven't done that yet.
And then once you've claimed that ship, you make it your home ship,
right?
That's and register it.
All right, I get that.
Then when you undock, at that point, there's a brief moment where your ship flies away.
Yep.
But if you can catch it before it gets more than 500 meters away, then you can dock with it.
Okay.
Reinitiate the docking sequence.
No, I thought there was a way that I could dock my Frontier cargo ship with my other ship.
No.
Okay, so
you can't.
I was misunderstanding.
Yeah, you can only dock a ship that's been disabled.
Right. Okay. So that's all being a pirate or being, I suppose, yeah. Anytime yes.
I mean, you could be a UC, Vanguard, and take out a pirate ship and climb it
and do the same thing. Yeah,
and do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, there's lots to. Yeah, I am looking forward to some of that.
So, one of the risks of doing this is that sometimes these ships have contraband on them.
Yeah,
and you don't necessarily know. And so I was all excited because I had, clept this level 50 ship, and the closest port was Neon. So I flew into to Neon, and the thing comes up where they're scanning your ship for contraband, and it says contraband on ship. I'm like, oh shit.
Does it give you a chance to run away, or do they have you?
Well, as soon as after they've initiated the scan, even if you fly away, they'll still confiscate the goods and give you value. But if you do this in Neon, just say, okay, fine, I'll pay the fine. I think my fine for this was like 600 credits. So I paid my fine, and they took me in. And when you're in the UC security building in Neon, you're right next to the contraband container.
Oh.
And so I just dropped into sneak mode and stole all my stuff back, and then stole all the other contraband that they had in this contraband case, and stole all the stuff from the contraband in this contraband case. And then you just walk down the hall to the trade union and sell it to them. So I ended up so for my 600 credit bounty, I ended up with what did I get? Like 23,000 credits worth of contraband goods. So I am always flying.
Flying to Neon.
Flying to Neon.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the other ones are the same. I haven't been to this is the first time I've been to the principal's office.
Well, the Razor Leaf has a shielded cargo container, so I think it comes with that.
Yes. So a shielded cargo container gives you a 50% chance.
Oh, okay. Well,
of passing the scan.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than zero.
I love how the spacers run away from the Razor Leaf. That's fun.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. You can add a scrambler, to block their scan, and that'll get you to about 70, 75. And then there's perks that you can take to up it from there.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, pirating's fun.
Yeah. Well, I intend to do that at some point to pirate more. Right now, I'm just sort of figuring out how deeply into the settlement thing I want to get, and I've decided not too deep.
I was never really big. I'm just a utility builder. So in 76, I would only have camps that served the purpose I needed. For playing the game. Same thing in Fallout 4. Things are in a box. I did the same thing in No Man's Sky. I build a box, and that's it. And so that's what I've done so far in this game too.
Yeah.
Only you have to build. You also have to build a airlock.
Yeah, the airlock's fine, and the furniture and everything is quite good looking. I think a lot of the stuff they've provided for. But what I've decided to do is with a large cargo ship, I'm actually just going to run cargo runs. I'm not going to try to figure out this rather arcane system of connecting connect the input of the output to the output of the input and just it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've watched some of the discussions on the Discord and watched a few videos, and there's one guy, this is the simplest way, and then he goes into this long drawn out
convoluted,
chains and S curves and blah blah blah, and halfway through he's going, wait a minute, that shouldn't work that way. And it's like, oh my god. So no, I'm just going to gather resources and I'll go get them when I need them. And so the long-winded lead up to asking the question, again, you've played a lot, you've got a lot of characters. Do you get the feeling that there's even that much use for 10% of the resources that you can actually gather in the game? What the hell do you make with it that's actually useful on a game day-to-day basis?
So far, the only useful thing I've seen with settlements is to farm XP.
Farm XP, also farm stuff you need for research, right? But
well,
the other thing,
but what do you need stuff for research, really?
Yeah, I mean, make more settlements. That's the only thing.
And then the other thing is there's a particular world somewhere that has this spider. I talked about it on the Fallout feed. These spiders are worth like 300 XP each. And so you build these little habitat units to raise these spiders, and then you fly into town, shoot them all, go up 2 or 3 levels, even if you're super high level. I mean, man. You can you build enough so that the place is crawling with them, literally.
Yeah.
And so you set up 2 of these on the same planet, and so you can just hop between them. And this was on another Angry Turtle video that I watched this. I haven't actually done it myself. But he says to build at least 2 of them because it takes a while for the bodies to despawn.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can't tell the live ones from the dead ones. And
is
so
that the world that I found, the Arachna?
Takes too long. No, I don't think so. Okay. This one, you have to have a perk to even be able to
of course,
to build on this planet, because it's an extreme
environment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just love that one, Arachna, because the moons were itsy and bitsy. I thought that was cute.
So
yeah. Oh, cool. Well, that's a lot of Starfield talk.
But yeah, it's an interesting process, but I don't have time.
Well, bottom line is I'm enjoying the game. I really do enjoy the combat and the stealth. I started the since I'm going down the UC path, I went to the Terramorph thing, right? That's the first big. But what happened to me there, just the last thing, was I went to what's her name and talked and went through the whole deal. And this is the same quest that we've done in Fallout 4 and a couple of places where it really, honestly, it is. But anyway, so I went and turned on the thing that you got to turn on and turned off the thing that you got to turn off. And I walked out. I was heading for another one to turn the sensors on, and there was the Terramorph. So I went into stealth, and the Terramorph stalked by me and had the beep, 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 the proximity sensor, and it went away. And I went out about my business, and then all of a sudden it was like everything stopped. Yeah. And so I went back to what's her name, and the Terramorph was dead. I didn't kill it.
Wow.
So
I guess, and she totally gives you kudos for it.
Yeah, totally. Oh, so this happened to you?
Oh yeah, I ripped him. Tore him up.
Yeah.
I've never shot that thing once.
Okay, all right. I wondered about that. I thought, what the hell did I do? Or I didn't do. Okay. Because
Yeah,
it
the
was very
turrets are more than enough.
okay. It was very what's the word? Not
Creates
scary, but
huge tension.
he's excellent that way. And I was like totally sneaking around, and when it stalked by, I got the whole alien vibe out of it and everything. And then it was like a huge letdown. It's already dead. I didn't even get a chance to shoot it once. Curse you, game.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
good. It wasn't just
Yeah,
me.
but she's not the only one that just is amazed by your prowess in battle.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Well, I'll take the kudos then. Yeah. Well. Well, I suspect that at some point I will come face to face with the Terror. So.
Yes, you will. If you continue down that path, you will. But a lot more spacers before then. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you definitely need a lot of bullets in this game.
Oh, yeah. It's a good thing that they're weightless.
I did notice that.
So, what do you use for weapons, Michael? Are we drawing this out too long, or are we good? Or
oh no, all good. Yeah.
Okay. So what's I know what I'm using right now. But I went mostly, real bullets.
Yeah, most of the stuff I've spec'd into when I do guns is in the the conventional bullet.
Okay.
I do. So my pirate character currently, he has absolutely no combat skills spec, but has been just an absolute badass because of the weapons that we pick up along the way.
Yeah, there's some really good drops, right? There's a lot of
legendary. Yeah, I really wanted to get into the weapon workbench and figure that out, but I've never not had a better weapon. When I go plow through this facility or that facility.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I've done a little work.
I haven't had any need to spec into, so he's completely spec'd into the tech field.
Okay.
So that's why he's so good at pirating ships.
I took a couple of low level perks in the weapons, pistols and shotguns.
Yeah, I did a pistol build, and that one's completely spec'd into combat, and physical. So that character can run forever, basically. It's I figured with a run and gun character, you want to be able to run.
Yeah. Have you come across the Ashta Tamer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is very hard to find ammo for once you've used up all the ammo you first find around it. But that's a pretty tough one. But for me, the one I'm using most right now is a lawgiver, which is really nice. It's a 50 cal or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a good sighted weapon. And then a big bang, a titanium modified big bang that I picked up from some, high level. What's the higher level? Not the pirates, but the Ecliptics. They're a little higher level. And that's a particle beam shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah, I also have a shotgun character.
Yeah.
So that one, there's a shotgun that you can buy in Neon that's really good. I think it's like Boom Boom or Bam Bam, something like that.
I think I saw that somewhere. Yeah, I have a Coachman, which is pretty good. That's a real bullet shotgun, which is good for really close combat. The particle beam shotgun is really good. That's the only non-physical bullet weapon I'm using. That can take down some serious.
Yeah, and if you do the mission that introduces you to the pirates, then you get a really, really good weapon from that. It's harder than heck to get ammo for. And just bleeds ammo, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have a Grendel because it's very easy to pick up 7.77.
Yeah.
So that's a fast firing. So that's good for.
Yeah. Yeah. My one disappointment in stealth is that the only effective way to level up stealth is with a silenced weapon. So for a melee character, it's you have to pick up a gun in order to be able to level stealth, to then be able to sneak around and make stealth kills with a melee weapon. So, but fortunately, you don't have to kill anybody with the pistol because all it takes is a sneak attack, not a sneak kill.
Oh,
so that makes it a lot better. But yeah, I'm finding a lot to do in the game.
Yeah.
And almost none of it is crafting or settlement building.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do a lot of settlement building. I think I'll do a lot of outposts to gather resources that I might need with just a couple of storage crates.
Yeah, I
take notes in the Steam Notes feature. I've been using that a lot, and just notate where I have stuff.
Yeah, my pirate did build a outpost on Lantana 7 because that is a place where you can find lead and copper together.
Okay.
And the mod that I have that lets you craft ammo uses lead and copper.
Yeah, that's something totally needed. So, ammo crafting.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait on the mods for a little while yet and see if.
Yeah, thankfully I couldn't give a crap about achievements.
Yeah, me either. I never have.
So, it was so the bullet mod was the first one that actually gave me the mod warning. Okay. If I just run the HUD and inventory mods, those don't trigger the warning.
Using Vortex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the bullet mod, it uses I think there's a code in the INI file that flags it as you're using mods.
That's fine.
Because I do have I've got an INI file tweak that lets you run the inventory and HUD mods without flagging them as mods. But that as soon as I put in the bullet one, it flagged it.
There's no script extenders yet.
There is.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought I looked at Silverlock and it wasn't.
Yeah, I looked at that on Friday before the Fallout feed, and it was there.
Okay, good. Well, maybe it's time to look. If there's a script extender, that means that Mod Organizer isn't too far behind. So
cool.
Yeah.
So, and if anybody is, wants an alternative to their space adventures, we still have a couple of weeks left on the latest expedition in No Man's Sky.
Nice.
Which, if you like walking around on planets and scanning things, this one is heavy on that.
Oh, really? Big research one. Or big scanning one.
Yep. Yeah, and flipping back and forth between No Man's Sky and Starfield makes me really miss my freighters when I'm in Starfield.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, that's
being able to fly into your freighter. You've got this huge hangar bay that parks 9 ships. And so it'll populate empty spaces with any ships that you've collected. So it's fun to pull in there and see all your different ships all lined up in there.
Yeah, maybe somebody will come up with a mod like
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Especially with it being in No Man's, I feel like it's something
Yeah. Although the ships in Starfield are infinitely larger than any of the ships in No Man's Sky. So
that could be a problem.
Yeah.
And aren't they a little more complex also, the way you can build them differently?
Oh yeah. The freighter would have to be absolutely massive, because I think you can make them 40 by 40. I think that's the limit in Starfield.
Wow.
Well, they are pretty. I mean, where was I? Was it the one? I think it was the last Ryujin quest that I did, where you get the key card from the security chief or something like that, and he's in the well or whatever hangar base where the ships are, and they're huge.
Mhm.
They seem huge anyway.
Right.
The scale is large.
Well,
But not
after
large
walking
enough
around
for
that big Varun ship,
Yeah.
I can definitely say they are huge.
Yeah.
They are huge.
All right. Well, I guess next time we'll do a little more of the same.
Yeah.
Little
Well, when is the next Assassin's Creed coming?
the 5th. I don't know if that's the
Oh.
pre-order date, but that's the date.
October?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm going to grab that too. So maybe.
Is that 2 weeks, I guess?
Yes. Yeah, it's the Friday. No, it's the week before Columbus Day. So
Oh, that's true. Look at that. Holiday weekend. Good timing.
excellent. Excellent.
It's nice weather, though. It's going to be a
I
problem.
don't know if you guys did. This was funny. I was thinking about this today. Totally sort of out of the blue. Did either of you guys do Wordles?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember the Wordle on day one? Did we talk about this? I don't remember.
No.
On the 1st of September, the word was space.
Oh, was it?
So somebody at the New York Times
Yeah.
is a Starfield fan, and it's funny because I just out for fun. I thought, oh, release day, space. So I got the Wordle on the first guess, and we have a family Wordle thing. So I posted it, and Sean saw it. And he thought, I know what that word is. So he got it too.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I didn't even put that together that day. Yeah. Yep. That wouldn't be surprising. I mean, it was a pretty prominent release. So,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad everybody is enjoying the game. I apologize to everybody for my negativity. It's not about the game. The game's fine.
It's okay.
It's just about my life.
Yeah, we understand. And we know that eventually you will drink the Kool-Aid.
But yeah, so next time we'll do more of the same. A little Skyrim, a little Starfield, probably some Mirage, and whatever else we happen to be playing. Little No Man's. You're finishing up your why do I forget what they're called? Expedition. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, you're finishing up that expedition. Of course, on Fallout Feed, you're doing Starfield and Fallout Roundtable finishing up.
Yeah, we're just wrapping up the season, so
there you go. That'll be interesting to see how you go for next season with all the Starfield stuff. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Fortunately, because I have spent several hours in the game, I'm getting to the point now where there's a lot of stuff I don't have to do anymore. And so, now it's just a lot of character maintenance, going through, different things, specific to each one of them. And so it does give me more time to get back into all the other stuff that I like playing.
That makes sense, because as you learn the game, you learn what you want to focus on for each individual character, and you're not.
Yeah. So now, instead of taking an hour to figure out how to upgrade the Frontier, I can do it in 5 minutes.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
It becomes a much faster process to do everything.
yeah. And, because I've done all of the major quests outside of the main quest, now I don't have to do all of those again because those things are hours and hours. These quests are massive.
Wow.
And so, that frees up a lot of time there too. So
Yes. You've gone through them, so now you know what you want for whatever character or you don't want for a character. That's the way to go. Well, until next time, everyone, thanks for listening. And see you in probably a couple weeks again.
Yeah. Good night.
Take care.